Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you. Today we are going to explore the essential cases for questioning. Throughout the Buddhist history, it is said that, including Shakyamuni Buddha, all the patriarchs and sages and saints who got the enlightenment experience, they have accumulated a couple of thousand essential questions through which they figured out all the life questions. So I want to ask you, what kind of life questions do you have? What are your primary questions?
I have a lot of questions. So
Most important, most primary, most urgent question. 3 questions.
okay. So my first question is that who I am is a very important for all people.
Yeah.
Who I am.
Good.
So another is that how I believe to Nirvana. How? Nirvana is very how.
How? You need a method.
Yeah. Every people like, if some people die, oh, he went to Nirvana. So how to prove he went to Nirvana? So
number 3.
Right? Number three. Right? Number 3 is, so we believe each other, family, friends, every people. But sometimes we cannot believe 100%. How to recover that the belief, more belief in each other.
I'm so amazed by your questions. Yeah, let us. It's really, really important questions. You have created the questions. Different people have different questions.
Sure.
And one thing we should know is our brain was born to answer the questions we have, which is the most important, urgent thing. So, how great questions we make. Our brain gives only answers to those questions. If we have small questions, then our brain works least capacity. If we want to be a great person, then we need to create great questions. Our brain 100% succeed to give those answers. Ordinary people, they never ask who they are, because that is why they die without knowing who they are, because they never question. But enlightened ones, they have questions. Who I am? Who I am? How can I be free from suffering? They all figured out those questions because they asked the questions, their brain gave an answer to them. We don't have those questions, it never works. Right? This is the truth. This is how our brain works. So you need to ask your children what kind of questions you have, so that every day they can ask questions to themselves. How can I become better? How can I do it better? Right? So the size, how great, how small of our questions decide our capacity, our caliber, our limit as well. If we have unlimited questions, then we can actualize unlimited potentials in our life. I have studied a lot actually. Compared to others, maybe nothing. But I can say to myself, I have studied more than enough with my capacity. And I have explored. There are so many geniuses in the physical level, right? Olympic level athletes, see, they are amazing, right? And there are so many emotional capacity and geniuses, mental geniuses, and spiritual geniuses. On the first stage of my life, teenager and 20s, 30s, I always try to follow the spiritual geniuses. Buddha, Grandma Soten-san, Life of Jesus, Socrates, and Confucius, Lao Tzu. I want to learn everything they achieved. But later in my 40s, from my 40s, one day I thought, what it means to be a human? What it means to be a human? When I see all the humanity, all are human, right? But there are endless gap and levels of to be a human. We are not the same. What makes us different? So I questioned what it means to be a human. What should I do if I want to be fully developed human? I want to be 100% pure human. I have a human body. Do I know what the human body is? Do I do things human body can do? And emotional capacity, have I developed and am I living the enriched emotional life? Have I experienced ultimate bliss, ultimate joy? When we see people modern days, when you see the face of modern people, they have ultimate bliss, joy. Most of the people experience depression and sadness, fear, anxiety. Even children, they should be ultimately happy, right? But still, they're very anxious about something. And I ask, am I mentally fully developed and spiritually open 100%? I started to ask because I want to be 100% human. Physical level, emotional level, mental level, spiritual level. Whole spectrum, I wanted experience. I wanted to make possibility into reality. I didn't want to end up just a dreamer. I wanted to actualize this body and mind and spirit. And my third question was how to create then my best version of who I can be in this very life. So with these three questions, first, what it means to be a human. Second, what should I do to become fully developed human? And number three, how to create my best version of who I can be. So figure out these questions. I start to read spiritual book, religious book, science book, nutrition book, exercise book, music book, art book, because all the knowledge, that kind of knowledge, in that, there is a clue to understand what it means to be human. Human's interest, human's capacity, and what is the interrelationship between physical activity, emotional response, and mental power of concentration and learning, and how we can transcend, experience nirvana. I'm going to tell you how to get the nirvana. And during my exploration of to be something, and I realized that when we pursue something, this one is amazing, it works. You know, when we say enlightenment, enlightenment means a light, right? Not darkness. When we try to do something new, then in our brain, small light is lighted. If I do 100 things, something new, 1,000 something new, read something new field, meeting something new people, going somewhere, doing something new, then in our brain, enlightened. The brain cells, which has never been used, it start to be used. It start to be awakened. If we push our effort, then so many empty room is enlightened. It's simple. So if we stop something, something that we used to do, if we free from it, then enlightenment will happen. So questions is very important. If we question unlimited questions, and the question to go beyond the limit, then your brain will bring about the unlimited, the answers to go beyond limits. Trust it, trust it. And as you know, Grandma Sote-san, his practice started with questions. When he was 6 years old, who am I? Why sky is blue? And why parents, they are very intimate with each other? Ongxing, have you questions? Why mother and father is always intimate? And they are happy to be with each other? So Grandma Sote-san, he started to questions like that. And later his questions become more and more and deeper and more concentrated. And questions became the mother of his enlightenment. So in Buddhist traditions, there are a couple of thousand different kinds of questions, which became the kind of momentum of enlightenment of different practitioners. And Grandma Sote-san picked 20 very practical and useful and universally accessible to any capacity of practitioners. He picked only 20. So we need to work with it. Number one, it is said that the world honored one descended into his royal family without leaving to check the heaven and delivered all sentient beings while still in his mother's womb. What does this mean? Actually, these questions are not supposed to give answers verbally. We have to hold it a long period of time. You know, when mother is pregnant, you have to wait 10 months, right? With a loving energy. So when we have questions, we have to hold it with a sincerity. The sincerity. What does this mean? Sometimes we can get insight, but that is not complete, that is not final. And then hold it again and hold it again until that question becomes mature enough to bring about the full wisdom, full understanding. But I am too much compassionate. So to help you, to guide you, I want to give a little clue of these questions. But you need to work with this for yourself for a long, long period of time. Okay? The world honored one is, who is it? Who is the world honored one here? Shakyamuni Buddha. Shakyamuni Buddha descended into the royal family. We know he was a prince. Without leaving Tuchita heaven. Tuchita heaven is kind of metaphor. The place he stayed before he descended into human birth. It's kind of heaven. Okay? So Shakyamuni Buddha, he descended into royal family as a prince without leaving Tuchita heaven. How could it be possible? How could it be possible? Ongxing? Ongxing was born into Masui's family without leaving heaven. What does that mean? It's true, you don't know. Even though we try to think, try to understand using thinking mind for 1 million years, still we cannot figure out. Our thinking mind cannot figure out because logically it doesn't make sense, right? Geographically, it doesn't make sense. How can we figure out? Heaven is somewhere. He is not living there, but he's born here. It doesn't make sense. So we shouldn't try to figure out with a thought. We'll end up, the answer will be in vain, right? So start thinking, because it's impossible to figure out with a thinking mind. Next, he delivered all sentient beings. He delivered all sentient beings while still in his mother's womb. How feeders can finish saving all sentient beings? Is it possible? Logically. Doesn't make sense at all. So then why they worked with these nonsensical questions? What is here? We are working with nothing. No, there is something here. What does that mean? What is the treasure in this nonsensical question? We have to ask questions. In this question, there is more than logic, more than thinking, more than understanding. Tuchita heaven is kind of a past, right? Because he stayed before he descended into royal family. In this very moment, there is a past, right? There is a past. And in mother's womb, he delivered all sentient beings. It's a future, right? In this very moment, there is a future too. So, in order to embrace, in order to encompass past and future, then I have to stretch the time and space like a rubber band. Rubber band. One of my hobby is to play with a glove around the globe, or to see the world map in the plane sheets. It has been many, many years. So when I take a walk, then I say I'm just take a step on the glove. On the glove. So I don't have to worry about getting lost at all. Even though I get lost, it's still glove, right? Not the moon, not the Mars. But when we were young, I was afraid of being getting lost, even when I go to the next village, right? Even in the same village, when I got the neighbors, I was afraid of getting lost. Because at that time, the space I had was so small. Time was so small. But now, my scale of time and space is huge. I still try to expand it. I try to stretch it. Then past, present, future is nothing. And in the ultimate sense, there's no time and no space. It's kind of illusion, but which is fantastic. Life is illusion and play, but fantastic. We can stretch it, time and space. So then what makes the possibility to stretch time and space is our mind, our consciousness, awakened, enlightened consciousness. Your question is how to get to Nirvana, right? Nirvana is kind of psychological and physical state to be liberated from the suffering or fear and anxiety, right? Even from life and death. My understanding is, I may be wrong because I'm not perfect and complete, but so far. We human, including all other life forms, have struggled with one most essential emotion, which is fear. Fear. Nobody is free from fear, right? Fear. Even Shakyamuni Buddha, he confronted with the feeling of fear. That is why he went out, because of the fear. And modern science gave us kind of a clue. What is the chemical or foundation to make fear? It's a stress hormone. But when we do something new, when we learn something new, then happy hormones start to release. Happy and joy, enthusiasm, and curiosity. Then gradually, naturally, we can reduce fear response. That's what I have experienced. When I do something good, positive, something that helps me to grow, then more and more positive emotions and feeling good and more curiosity, more enthusiasm, more passion. Then I try to push, naturally, spontaneously, I push myself. I don't get tired at all. Then no fear. Joy and fear cannot exist together at the same time. So Shakyamuni Buddha, his whole life process of the journey of practice, he walked and walked and walked, right? At the time, no car. He spent most of his time walking. It's exercise. And emotionally compassionate. Throughout his lifelong journey, he met endless number of people, sad people, happy people, excited people, depressed people. And then he cultivated his emotions, how to serve others emotionally. And with his wisdom, he tried to help his wisdom, wise advice. So he made his body and mind with the joy, happiness, and serenity, all positive hormones, peace and joy, and ultimate bliss. There is no space to get in the fear response, right? 100% of a positivity, no fear. So my experience through my journey of continuing education to help myself to grow, to be fully developed human being, I become more and more curious, more and more challenging myself, more and more joy, and less fear and anxiety. Maybe not 100%, but no fear of death, because I feel I have lived truly. Because I feel I have truly lived the human life. That feeling makes me, I'm secure. I can say, I can goodbye to this very life because I feel that's enough. So when we take our human journey seriously on a physical level, emotional level, mental level, spiritual level, with an integrated way, if we develop simultaneously together, then we'll be flourished with vital energy. And that vital energy can help us to be free from fear response. Fear response. Fear response is just a chemical response in our body. But when we push ourselves with a right effort, which is serve our life and help us to develop good life skills, then naturally, spontaneously, will be free from fear response. And liberation and nirvana is not impossible, it is truly possible. Okay? So the reason why we practice and what's the purpose of our practice is to expand our consciousness and our mind. You know? Even universe is expanding, right? Our consciousness is like a universe. It can continue to expand to encompass, embrace time and space. So today we did only one question. So hold this question in your heart and make it as your own.